Jim Burns. Doing life with your adult children. Keep your mouth shut and the welcome mat out. Remember those sleepless nights when your babies were small? Back then, it was all about milk, stuffed animals, and endless diaper changes. But what about when your kids are grown? You might still have sleepless nights, but for entirely different reasons. These days, you're probably lying awake wondering, is my son making the right career choices? When will my daughter finally land a steady job? Should I say something about my kids' relationship, or keep quiet? Welcome to parenting adult children, a phase nobody really prepares you for. The rules haven't changed, have they? You want to support them, but not enable them. You want to stay connected, but respect their independence. It's a delicate balance, and honestly, most of us are figuring it out as we go. In this blink, we'll explore practical strategies for navigating this new territory together. You're not alone in this. Embrace your new job description. Being a parent is quite possibly the longest job you'll ever hold. And suddenly, when your kids hit adulthood, it feels like you've been handed a pink slip. Thanks for your service, but we've got it from here. That's what they seem to say as they pack up their rooms and head out into the world. From their perspective, they no longer need managing or guiding. They're adults now. They've got jobs, apartments, maybe even serious relationships. But here's the thing we all know. Sometimes their choices don't exactly scream mature adult. The challenge becomes figuring out how to navigate this new territory where you're still their parent, but your influence has shifted dramatically. Think of it this way. You're not fired, but your role has fundamentally changed. So what does this new job description look like? Well, it starts with accepting that your kids now make their own decisions and set their own schedules. Your parenting has naturally evolved from that intensive, hands-on experience to something more intermittent and distant. The key is learning to be encouraging without crossing into intrusive territory. Part of your new role is also to embrace serious fun. This means creating meaningful experiences together that acknowledge your adult child's independence while still celebrating your unique bond. Think dinner conversations where you genuinely want to hear their perspectives, adventures you plan together as equals, or shared hobbies where you're both learning something new. This is your chance to shift toward shared, joyful experiences where your kids are still unmistakably your kids, but they're also these fascinating, fun adults you genuinely enjoy spending time with. The beautiful truth is this. While maintaining your parent-child bond through the complexity of adult relationships can feel overwhelming, what endures isn't the material things you provide. It's the foundation of love and confidence you've built together. Your legacy isn't found in the rules you enforced or the problems you solved for your kids. It's in the unwavering belief you instilled that they are capable, worthy, and deeply loved. Your advice isn't always welcome. As the parent of an adult child, you've probably figured out that there are times to offer advice and times to bite your tongue. But putting that theory into practice? That can feel like navigating a minefield. Your well-intentioned suggestions about everything from whether they should travel to Europe to what kind of haircut they should try are often met with hurt looks and turning away, leaving you feeling stung too. Here's a reality check that might help. When advice to your adult children is unsolicited, it's usually received as criticism. Full stop. The problem is this. Keeping our mouths shut goes against every parental instinct we have. For over 2 decades, our automatic response was to offer guidance. It's practically wired into our DNA as parents. We've got opinions on everything from career moves to relationship choices. And it can genuinely shock us when we discover that our kids not only see our advice as criticism, but also aren't even asking for it in the first place. So how do we navigate this tricky new dynamic? Here are 4 approaches that can help transform those awkward advice moments into meaningful connections. First, Trust that experience will teach them better than any words you could offer. Sometimes watching them figure things out, even when they stumble, builds their confidence in ways your guidance simply can't. Second, think of yourself as a mentor, not a manager. Instead of telling your kid what to do, share your own experiences and let them draw their own conclusions. Saying something like, "When I was in a similar situation, I found that," opens doors that an imperative "you should" tends to slam shut. Third, have conversations, not lectures. Ask open-ended questions and really listen to their responses. Something like, "How are you feeling about that decision?" Or, "What's your biggest concern right now?" Invites them to share rather than putting them on the defensive. Finally, default to giving grace. Remember that they're still figuring things out, just like you were at their age. When they make choices you wouldn't make, trust that they're learning their own lessons in their own time. Your job now is to love them through it, not to fix it. Are you a helper or an enabler? Let's imagine an adult child. We'll call him Dylan. He's in his early 20s, coasted through school, left his college degree unfinished, and can never seem to hold down a job for very long. He still lives at home. Now, picture his parents, Dave and Linda. They're beside themselves. They've lectured Dylan about the value of hard work, the need to see things through, the importance of financial independence. Why hasn't he gotten the message? Here's the thing. Let's not look at what Dave and Linda say, but what they actually do. Dylan doesn't pay rent, and he's still on the family phone and Wi-Fi plans. Dave and Linda do his laundry and cook him dinner every night, often at a different time than they eat themselves because he rolls in late. Why would Dylan want to grow up? Life is pretty sweet as it is. Dave and Linda desperately need to set boundaries and expectations. If this sounds familiar, ask yourself, are you helping your adult child or enabling them? There's a crucial difference. Enabling behaviour essentially shields people from experiencing the full impact and consequences of their choices. Unlike genuine help and support, enabling actually allows your kid to remain irresponsible. Now let's hear about Amanda and her parents, Bob and Cheryl. They raised their daughter in a loving home with strong values. When Amanda was arrested for driving under the influence during college, Bob and Cheryl were devastated. They couldn't believe their daughter would make such a poor choice. But they also knew she was fundamentally a good person who had made a serious error in judgment. Bob and Cheryl could have easily afforded the best attorney to get Amanda off with minimal consequences, but they chose not to. After much consideration, they decided it was best for their daughter to experience the full weight of her actions. This meant a revoked license for a year, attending DUI classes, paying increased insurance rates for 10 years, and keeping that DUI on her record. The result? Amanda learned from her mistake, partly because her parents loved her enough to let her face real consequences. The supporting without enabling approach works because it honours both your love for your child and their need to develop genuine independence. When you allow natural consequences to unfold while offering emotional support, you're giving your adult child the invaluable gift of learning from their own experiences. And that's what ultimately helps them become truly self-reliant adults. Learn to live with your adult child. You've probably heard the term boomerang kids, those adult children who return home after college or other attempts at independence. Rising housing costs, student debt, competitive job markets, and even global events have made it financially challenging for young adults to establish themselves independently. Sometimes they need a temporary landing pad while they figure things out. Yet many parents and adult children admit that moving back home creates a confusing mix of issues. Picture this scenario. It's midnight, and your adult child isn't home yet. You're lying awake, that familiar parental panic setting in. But here's the thing, when they were away at college, or living independently, they didn't have a curfew and they don't see why they should have one now. You're panicking and getting frustrated while they genuinely can't understand why you're freaking out over something they see as trivial. The truth is, old habits die hard. When kids move back home, many parents rediscover their so-called need for control, especially those who lean toward helicopter parenting. Sometimes we refuse to let go, not because our kids have needs, but because we have needs. Specifically, we need to be needed. This creates a cycle where we actually encourage dependency at the expense of our adult children's growth and our own well-being. Breaking this cycle requires stepping back and letting them handle their own challenges, even when every instinct tells you to jump in and fix things. It means having honest conversations about expectations. What does contributing to the household look like? What expenses are they responsible for? These aren't punitive measures, they're investments in their future independence. The goal isn't to make your kids' lives harder, but to help them develop the skills and confidence they'll need when they do leave home for good. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is resist the urge to make everything easy for them. After all, successfully launching into independent adulthood, that's the gift you're really working toward. When you love your kid but hate their choices. Ever heard the expression, small kids, small problems, big kids, big problems? When your children are small, problems might look like a scraped knee or a forgotten homework assignment, things you can solve with a Band-Aid and a quick phone call to the teacher. But when your kids are bigger, the problems grow too. And one of the most challenging situations you'll face as a parent occurs when your adult child makes choices that go against everything you've taught them. How do you handle this heartbreak? Navigating these waters requires a delicate balance of love and boundaries. Sometimes you need to offer what's called tough love, setting firm limits that promote responsible behavior and long-term change. This might mean refusing to let a drug-using adult child move back home without first getting treatment, or declining to bail your son out of yet another financial crisis. The goal isn't to be cruel. It's to stop enabling destructive patterns and encourage genuine growth. When you absorb the consequences your child should be experiencing, you're actually robbing them of opportunities to learn and change. Their crisis doesn't automatically become your crisis, and it's crucial to maintain that boundary. Another crucial strategy? Avoiding the one-topic parent trap. This is when every conversation becomes about their poor choices. Every phone call turns into a lecture, and every interaction revolves around what's wrong with their life. When you become a one-topic parent, you risk reducing your entire relationship to their biggest problem. Instead, make space for other conversations. Ask about their job, their friends, their hobbies. Show interest in who they are beyond their struggles. Remember, they're still your child, the same person who used to tell you about their day at school and share their dreams with you. That person is still there, even when their choices break your heart. Most importantly, find support for yourself. Sometimes the most difficult grief comes from watching our children make self-destructive choices, and this isn't something you can handle alone. Whether it's a trusted friend, support group, or professional counselor, having people in your corner makes all the difference. Remember this: showing love doesn't equal showing approval. You can maintain your relationship with your child even when you disagree with their choices. If your child is marrying someone you believe is wrong for them, attending their wedding sends the message that your love for them is unconditional, even though you may have serious concerns about their decision. This distinction matters because when your child eventually recognizes they need to make changes in their life, they'll be far more likely to turn to you for support if they know you didn't abandon them during their difficult times. Money matters. There's a helpful story about a young man who once asked a successful businessman, "What's the secret to becoming financially responsible?" The businessman smiled and replied, "Good decisions." The young man pressed further, "But how do I learn to make good decisions?" "Experience," came the answer. And how do I get experience? The businessman chuckled. Bad decisions. This story captures exactly how most of us learn to handle money, through trial and error. Yet many well-meaning parents inadvertently prevent their adult children from gaining this crucial experience. If you help your adult kids financially, you're certainly not alone. More than 75% of parents provide some form of financial assistance to their adult children at various points. But sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is say no, even when you can afford to say yes. Cutting off financial support might feel harsh, but it could be the most effective step toward helping your child achieve true financial responsibility. Remember, growth often requires discomfort. Ready to bite the bullet? 2 key strategies can make all the difference here: creating a clear exit plan and actively fostering independence. First, develop a transparent timeline for ending financial support. Your child should know exactly what you will and won't pay for, and when that support will end. It's unfair to suddenly pull the financial rug out without warning. Some families find it helpful to involve their adult children in creating this plan together. When people help design something, they're more likely to support it. Second, teach independence through hands-on experience. Some parents start with this early by having teenagers help with family bills, balance checkbooks, and even provide input on giving and investments. Others give their children lump sums for school clothes or other expenses, allowing them to make their own choices and learn from mistakes. The goal is always self-sufficiency. When your adult child is making poor choices, continuing to provide financial support often means you're inadvertently funding those very choices. Teaching financial independence isn't just about money, it's about helping your child develop the confidence and skills they need to build a successful life on their own terms. In this link to Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Jim Burns, you've learned that parenting adult children requires a fundamental shift to becoming a supportive mentor who sets clear boundaries without enabling destructive behavior. The key is learning to love unconditionally while allowing your children to experience the natural consequences of their choices, which helps them develop independence and responsibility. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.